Hello, and welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara, and today we take you someplace very few people have ever seen, AZPM's vault, right here. This room houses media from AZPM's 60-year history, a lot of good stuff. We're going to show you what it takes to digitize much of this material and also share some of the best stuff that we've found. So please stay tuned. You'll meet the man responsible for sorting through all this media and see some of his favorite discoveries.
So I returned to Arizona Public Media in 2013 and then retired 2 years ago. They keep dragging me back.
We'll look back at the life and legacy of reporter, spokeswoman, and hip-hop artist Sharon Kha.
I still was alive and kicking, and that's when I decided that I had to change my approach.
A new story from the Morley Arts District in Nogales, Arizona.
I really love the fact that people won't have to walk into a gallery to see, what the artist did.
And a never-before-seen, you'll totally understand why, story from our archives. KUAT Channel 6 started broadcasting to southern Arizona audiences back on March 8th, 1959. It was the first public station in the state. And since that time, we have produced thousands and thousands of hours of local productions, documentaries, and more. And most of that footage has ended up right here. There are all types of media, film, beta tapes, DVC Pro, and much, much more. And as AZPM prepares to move to the Baker Center for Public Media in the coming years, the time has come to finally figure out what to do with this archive. And here to tell us more about the project is the man tasked with sorting through all this video and organizing it, AZPM alum John Booth. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you too, Tom.
You've done, since 1983, you've done it all. You've been a photographer, executive producer. You hired me.
Yes.
And we all make
and
mistakes.
Look,
no.
yeah.
But now you're the archivist. You have a monumental job in front of you. Where do you begin?
Well, they were looking for someone that could recognize all the formats, possibly the stories, what was important, Arizona history, and through my 40-year career, I bounced into a lot of that.
How are you determining the wheat from the chaff? What's the criteria? What's the litmus test?
Well, the grant is a Mellon Foundation grant through GBH and the American Archive for Public Broadcasting. And the reason for the grant is to preserve local and regional stories. So they want the stories, they want arts, they want politics, and so it's pretty easy to sort out finished stories or shows and all the field tapes. At the end of the day, the entire collection of 2,000 to 2,500 assets from 16 millimeter film, 1-inch reel-to-reel, 2-inch reel-to-reel, 3/4-inch cassette beta, all the way to digital files will be uploaded onto a digital asset management system here at the U of A, word searchable by anybody on the planet. You can look at proxy videos and, more importantly, word searchable by producers who want to be able to tell the story of, the immigration story over decades instead of just yesterday. All of those assets will also be preserved at the Library of Congress.
What's been the biggest surprise so far in what you've found?
One general surprise was there's not a news story. I mean, we have sanctuary stories, dealing with immigrants coming across the border and how do we provide safety and also justice. And then there's, they're going to close DM, they're not going to close DM. The biggest surprise is a story that Peggy Giddings, that was her name back then, Peggy Johnson, now the owner of the Loft, shot. I shot it, she produced it on a trial against Joe Bonanno, the famed gangster.
Yeah.
Prosecutor, Rudy Giuliani. Defense attorney, William Kunstler. That was the biggest surprise.
After Judge Owen told Bonanno he would be cited for contempt if he did not answer the questions, Bonanno complained of chest pains and asked for nitroglycerin.
You saw him on television. I saw him. The man answered every single question the way he wanted to answer it. He is perfectly capable of answering questions.
I felt kind of ashamed to be in the whole proceeding with this sick and ailing man sitting there, surrounded by blood pressure machines and doctors.
A friend saw these people, these guys that used to lay down cones along Grant, and I think it was 6th. And so in the morning and in the afternoon, they would close off the center lane so that you could get more traffic going this way or this way. And it was just this rhythmic, ballet. So with a 3/4 inch camera, I shot these guys doing that and put it to music. And it's one of my favorite pieces from the archive. And I would love to find these guys. I don't have their names. I wasn't much of a producer, evidently. I didn't take their names down. So if you know these people, let's get a hold of them and make sure they know that they're now in the Library of Congress.
I get up at 5.
And be to work by 6. Then we leave the shop about 25 after, be out there, get the cones all ready. Then we start putting them out.
6:45, we put them down. 8:45, we start picking up. We're usually off the road at 9.
Or
right after.
2 after. Usually about 9. It's timing and rhythm, yeah. The speed on how fast you swing your arm to according how fast you're going.
He's the best one we've got.
This is about 4.5 miles we gotta do. And kind of wonder the first time you do it, whether you're gonna get it done in 15 minutes. We had the chair made so we can switch sides, depending on whether we're picking up or putting down. That way traffic's never behind us.
There's a lot of people around here that, enjoy us.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, when we're putting out the cones, like mainly in the afternoon, they'll say, it's not 4 o'clock yet. They'll tell me it's not 4 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, but it takes 15 minutes to put these cones on the road. You can't just start at 4 o'clock and have them down at 4 o'clock.
Also says no left turns when cones in place. It doesn't specify what time.
Yeah. Can do it at 30 miles an hour.
He can. 23 is my top. 30 picking up, 23 is top for putting down.
3:45, we start putting them down. Then 5:45, we start picking them up again. Then we're it for the day until the next day.
We wish you the best of luck with a monumental task. At least you're in the air conditioning all summer as you sort through and get it done. So good luck.
Thank you, Tom.
And always great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Sharon Kha was a local journalist, also a spokeswoman for the university, turned rapper for Parkinson's. Sadly, she passed away in June 2024 at the age of 80. Now, this next story from these very archives features Sharon and focuses on the strength and the humor she displayed after being diagnosed with Parkinson's.
I bought some bling and a Flavo Flav clock.
Sharon Kha is in her 70s and she's only 4 feet 10 inches tall, but she enjoys performing a musical genre that might surprise you.
Yo, homie, listen up. All the parties in the room, put your hands up.
Kha is a part-time rapper on a mission with thousands of views on YouTube.
What? Say what? You say kick Parkinson's butt. Say what? Say what? Kick Parkinson's butt.
Her passionate message is about Parkinson's disease.
My brain used the rhythm of rap to build detours around the failed pathways of Parkinson's.
Kha was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease more than a decade ago when she was a busy professional at the University of Arizona. After working as a local radio and television reporter, she had moved on to the university.
I was the director of the News Bureau, really for all the 22 years I was there. But every once in a while I would get another assignment like Associate Vice President for Institutional Advancement for the University of Arizona. I needed a card that big.
But her career came to a screeching halt when Parkinson's began to show its symptoms. She had to retire and step away from a familiar world. She says the disease causes the neurons in the brain to die off at a rapid rate compared to people without Parkinson's. Those neurons control movement, mood, and emotions.
Everybody loses neurons. That's why Parkinson's looks so much like old age. It is old age speeded up. We have no idea what causes it. If we did, maybe we could fix it, but we don't. From the day you're told you have it, from that day forward, you can count on it getting worse and worse and worse.
But Kha is fighting the disease with different treatments that are showing promise. She's pounding the pavement and conquering new grounds on a daily basis by focusing on social engagement and physical activity.
Exercising intensely is the one thing that shows a glimmer of hope in Parkinson's disease. That walk in the morning is as valuable to me as my medication. And it's not just walking, it's walking intensely, focusing on what I'm doing, not trying to carry on a conversation with somebody.
After the initial shock and depression from her newfound circumstances, which included planning her own funeral, Kha shifted her focus from defeat to determination.
I still was alive and kicking, and that's when I decided that I had to change my approach from getting ready for death to insisting on life.
That's it.
She's also a member of a gym for people who are living with Parkinson's.
Big steps. There you go.
She enjoys this time with her newfound friends and knowledgeable trainers who push their limits.
Nice, man. Good, Michael.
Michael Greenbaum was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2012.
If you sort of imagine the Hulk, collapsed lung structure, folded shoulders, very stiff and rigid walk, that's very common in Parkinson's, or rigid or tremors. And I had all of those things. Now I think you can see that in 2 years' time working here at the gym.
Nice, Michael. That's it. That is it right there, sir.
I stand straighter and taller. I can bend my torso, and I have strength and can almost go back to what I was as a soldier and knock out push-ups.
I believe you must not sacrifice your personality to the disease. And I believe that exercise can change your brain. And I don't need a business card to tell me who I am. I know who I am. I'm the El Dopa Diva.
For Sharon Kha, the rapping, the exercise, and the medicine are all part of her arsenal in the battle against Parkinson's. Rapping keeps her on her toes while requiring that she project her voice. This is vital for people with Parkinson's.
Parkinson's disease is really whack, but you be illin' if you don't fight back. When I say Parkinson's, you say don't give in. Parkinson's! Don't give in! Parkinson's! Don't give in!
During this event at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Tucson, Kha is accompanied by another person who has Parkinson's. Ginny Richardson finds comfort in art to deal with some of her challenges.
I just think that people ought to know more about Parkinson's and know that it's getting more common. And I'd love to know why I have it. There is life after Parkinson's.
Life after Parkinson's. This is a message that is dear to Kha's heart, and not only because of her present condition. It is the second time her immediate family has been affected.
In the 10 years that he lived after diagnosis, he went from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair. At the end, he was isolated. He couldn't go places, he couldn't make himself understood, he had no friends at all, and I felt so bad for my father, and I still do. And one day, I looked into the mirror, and I could see my dad's face after he had Parkinson's.
She resolved it would be different for her, and she's assisting others along the way. Even if you're not impacted personally, she says there may be something you can do.
You need to help people be who they're able to be, and that requires supporting them while they do things that are really hard. And you keep helping them and encouraging them so that they can maintain the ability to move and to speak and to have a life and have that life before death.
Thank you so much, and we really appreciate you doing what you're doing.
Ain't no thing. I'm down with that word. Thank you.
Sharon Kha is survived by her son David Kha, and a celebration of her life is being planned for fall of 2024. This next story is new. It's not a part of our archives, and it features Nogales artist Carlos Ibarra from what he calls Scaffold City, where he creates these large-scale murals. It's part of a 4-part series on the Morley Arts District in Nogales. These stories were produced outside of AZPM with editorial independence, and funding was provided by the Arizona Commission on the Arts and the Santa Cruz County American Rescue Plan Act.
I've been basically living in what I call Scaffolds, Arizona. It's a little city where I have, my food, my drinks, my paint. I've even taken naps up there when I'm very tired. It's like living up there. I just come down to visit Nogales for a few hours every night. My name is Carlos Ibarra. I've been a painter for 28 years. Started drawing when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I wanted to be the Pope when I was 4 years old. And when I learned that wasn't going to happen, for some reason I decided that then I'll just start drawing Jesus on the cross. And I spent months of my life drawing Jesus. I still have some of them, actually. I was born in Nogales, Arizona. My family from Mexico, I was the first one born on this side of the border. Growing up in Nogales, there wasn't a lot of art around, but my dad had a lot of art books, and so I spent hours and hours looking at his collection of art books. And when I started drawing, I would use a lot of the images in the art books to kind of just to learn. From very early on, my family encouraged my interest in art, and so I spent most of my childhood, early life just thinking that that was a road I could take in the future. The thing that I like about murals is that it's very sort of a blue-collar way of working. With a mural, especially outdoors, you deal with all the elements from wind and rain and cold and, with pigeons walking next to you and bees flying around and a lot of mosquito bites. And it's also very physical working on a mural. You have to scale up scaffolds, come down, figure out how to lift heavy boxes of paint, all the way to the top and back. All this while, trying to balance to work, maybe you're tied up with a harness. From the little things to the big things, it's a lot of logistics, a lot of figuring out how to get yourself ready to start painting. I really love the fact that people won't have to walk into a gallery to see, what the artist did. They can, walk down the street and look over. It's completely free. They can spend 5 minutes looking at it or 30 minutes looking at it, and it's there for everybody. And I love that part of working on murals. I think that art can be a very accessible way to get to know a culture, a city, a people. So the reason I think it's so important for people to know about what's happening artistically in Nogales, specifically on Morley, is because it's a counterpoint to the negative stories that we hear in the media about border life. It's not that dangerous idea that people have of what happens at the border. It's nothing like that at all. And for people to see that, there's life happening here, that there are ideas, that that there's a lot of positive things happening at the border is very important. And art is a great way to send that message out and hope that people receive it and take it in. And it's been proven again and again and again how art revitalizes. There are areas of cities all over the U.S., the world actually, that have been abandoned for whatever reasons for years. The artists move in because they can afford the rent. They turn it into this awesome, cool space. People start flocking, and eventually, that leads to then retail moving in and restaurants, and it revitalizes a whole area. And it's very powerful what artists and art can do to bring people together again. I think everybody wins at the end if more attention and more funding is given to the arts and art programs.
Now we bring you something from our archives that has never been seen before. Back in the 90s, former producer Ted Robbins went to a meetup of the Canyon State Naturists. He and his photographer tried, but they failed to produce the story without showing any nudity, so the piece never aired. Well, now, thanks to technological advancements, we are able to add blurring in order to share that story with you.
What could be more natural than leaving the city to camp under the trees and stars, experiencing nature and relaxing in the nude? Well, according to some 120 adults and children who did that recently on Saguaro National Park land in the Rincon Mountains east of Tucson, nothing is more natural. They are some of the members of Canyon State Naturists, an organization dedicated to enjoying everything while wearing nothing.
There's that freedom from stress. When you come to one of our events, there's an equalizing because we're all, most of us, we don't always, but most of us take off our clothes, so there's that equalizer.
I don't know, I suppose because everybody's always looking to see if you're wearing the right style of jeans or whatever like that. And
Need another cord.
Okay. We got another one. But here you can just, no one judges you by the way you look.
You could be a lawyer and I could be a laborer, We're still a family. We may not know each other all that well, but we're just family.
I'm trying, and alas, I am failing to resist the urge to note that this gentleman is checking his dipstick. But mostly, these naturists enjoy pretty much what anyone else does in the woods: volleyball, hiking, and a game that consists of kicking a little ball around. There's that urge again. Hacky sack.
Oh, I love kicking these things.
They also have seminars on the environment, and in this case, on spirituality.
There are a lot of things that are unexplained. And do they need to be explained?
Don Titmus makes his living as a gardener, and today he has brought penstemon seeds, a native plant, for people to scatter in the area.
Take a pinch, take that with you, find a place around here that you feel that would be nice, that you could come back to in a year's time.
I can be me.
Janae Fannin joined Canyon State Naturists a couple of years ago after 4 long, stressful years in nursing school.
I said, okay, it's time to find out who I am again. And, of course, sometimes it's always so hot in Tucson, I end up going without my clothes around the house. So I got to think, well, I wonder if there's any groups that do this anyway as a group thing.
The flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, breathe promise of merry sunshine, as we merrily dance and we sing, tra-la.
Now, in case you haven't been listening to a thing I've been saying up till now, it's time to answer some of your practical questions. Question 1, does everyone have to take their clothes off? No, we did not, and neither did Diane Stapley, even though her husband Tom loves to be nude.
With or without clothes, I'm a show-off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Have you done this, did you do this at home? Or?
Yes, all our lives. Ever since Diane and I have been married, we've gone out to the lake and we sneak around. But this is really nice to not have to sneak around.
Question 2, sex. What you do in your own tent or camper is your own business, but rules here strictly prohibit hanky-panky in the open. And folks here say because of the nudity, sex is actually less prevalent.
Because there's nothing hidden, then there's no sexual arousal because, for instance, bikinis are there and they're designed to make those sexual areas become accentuated. So, and it's hidden. There's a mystery behind it. And so there is, hard to believe, less sexual activity at a nudist event.
Question 3. Isn't it uncomfortable to hike without, well, support?
The body has become too used to support. It's a crutch to wear briefs or jock straps. It's a crutch. And so what I have experienced is my body, my genitals, have adapted to their natural environment.
Question 4. What are these people doing in a national park? Well, what they're doing is legal, and they are very far away from anywhere tourists normally go. They post signs clearly warning casual visitors what to expect should they venture in. There is, however, something of a paradox in people who go out of their way to avoid others and then invite a television camera into their midst. They are not modest about their lack of modesty. They want to publicize their cause, and they don't think they're much different from you or me.
There are many people that would not consider themselves nudists or naturists because they don't belong to an organized group. But there are a lot of skinny dippers in this state. A lot of backyards that have a swimming pool and a high fence.
Historically, in warmer climates, clothing is a relatively recent phenomenon. Up to about 1,000 years ago, many cultures felt entirely comfortable with nudity. These people still do.
Well, according to their website, Canyon State Naturist is no longer an active club. Thank you for joining us from the AZPM Vault for this episode. I'm Tom McNamara. We'll see you next week for more Arizona Illustrated.